Oh, YouTube, welcome back, guys. Today, I just wanted to do Civ tier list based on ages. Dark Age, Feudal Age, Castor Age, Imp Age. Essentially, I'm just going to be rating each Civ based on their strength according to the age. And I hope this guy can give you guys an idea of uh, how strong your Civ, maybe the one that you play the most, obviously, is equal to each age and where you want to be kind of focusing your playstyle around. So, without further ado, let's jump right into the tier list. And yeah, I'm actually going to be obviously if I do all of these tier lists, I'm gonna be having a few tier lists on my channel, but hopefully you guys enjoy this kind of content. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. Yeah, I'm gonna put China at a B here because they have two things in Dark Age that makes them decent, and that is just supervision as well as tax. And obviously that's just two things, but in Dark Age, civs don't really have that much, as you will see, but supervision and tax is pretty essential for China because number one, you can do a few things, right? You can actually gather gold without a mining camp, which is pretty, it saves you a lot of res in Dark Age. Especially if you don't need to build that mining camp to age up, you're quite efficient with your age up. You can actually age up faster than a lot of other civs just going pure spearmen against their pure spearmen. And second of all, you just get more food than other civs would with your supervision, and the food that you're getting from supervision is coming essentially out of thin air, right? So uh, just those two things makes China a B tier civ in Dark Age. The next civ is Abid, and Abid is the worst, if not the worst, Dark Age civ in the game. And that's because Abid eco scales off as TCs and buildings. And in Dark Age, you're really never going to be building 10 buildings, right? Unless you're building 3 rumble camps in Dark Age, it's not really going to happen. So Abid, unfortunately, is a D tier civ, and other than the berry buff, they really have nothing in Dark Age. Alright, so moving on to the first S tier civ is English. Of course, English has men-at-arms as well as short bows. Makes them one of, if not the best Dark Age civ in the game. You cannot be aggressive versus English really, unless you're a certain civ. And you, as English, you can keep up with every other civ in the game with your men-at-arms, just because you produce them just as fast, which makes your Dark Age insane. So English S tier civ. French. French is D tier civ. Better than Abbasid, but D tier. Again, French has nothing in Dark Age. They have faster villagers, and that's pretty much it. And I think it's kind of funny because English and French kind of the same kind of similar style, right? Both civs with a production building in H2. But English just deals with a civ like Mongols so much better because French has nothing in Dark Age to, you know, tell Mongols to go away. They really have nothing. Whereas English has short bows, they have men at arms, they have so much utility that just allows English to just be strong in Dark Age, whereas French is just staying there getting tower rushed on your gold. Yeah. H3, A tier civ, and I mean this is obviously just from their prowess, which is huge in Dark Age. Like you're getting a lot more resources with your prowess in Dark Age. The one negative thing is if you don't have that much sheep and you're spamming and spamming villages, you can run out of resources faster because yes, you do get more resources, but you also exhaust resources faster. So it's crucial that, you get to feudal age at a decent time as well, compared to maybe English, who doesn't get their value from resources, but rather just the men at arms being stronger. Um, Mongo's. Mongo's is S tier civ and probably, in my opinion, the best Dark Age civ in the game. Mongols, of course, have freestone. They have double production. They can deal with every spearman civ in the game just by building more spearmen than your opponent, and this can be done on one barracks because, well, your opponent is producing one spearman at a time. Mongols can be producing two spearmen at a time. Obviously, every so often, but just that one spearman more than your opponent means you're going to win the fight, and that just makes Mongols the best Dark Age civ in the game. And of course, versus English, you have horsemen to deal with men arms, which just makes Mongols have a solution to every Dark Age problem in the game. That being men arms or spearmen. All right, Roose. Roose is an interesting civ because Roose doesn't really have anything in Dark Age. They have bounty, I guess, but other than that, Roose doesn't have much. But you're never gonna trap Roose in Dark Age because they don't need to be in Dark Age. Like, they don't need to mine gold, so there's no problem for Roose. Like, you could put Roose in detail, but these civs struggle in Dark Age, right? French and Abbasid, they struggle to even get out of it. Whereas Roose is never gonna struggle to get out of Dark Age. Yeah, you're not gonna get tower rushed most of the time. Like, you're just not gonna have a problem with Roos in Dark Age. So they're C tier. Um, they don't have the buffs China has. Other than I'm not considering bounty. Maybe I should, but I consider bounty more of a gimmick. Take it, but they're a solid C tier for me. Deli. Deli is an interesting civ, and I'm gonna put them at maybe behind China here. Deli has free mosque techs. They have free mosque techs. That's a tongue twister, but as well as mill techs. So they have free techs, and that's it. But that is quite substantial. Getting free resources in the Dark Age. On a normal game, you won't even have wheelbarrow completed by Feudal Age. But if you're staying Dark Age, you're gonna have that tech, whereas other civs will not, right? So E tier for Delhi. Malions. Malions is an A tier Dark Age civ, and this is just simply because of Donzos are better than Spearmen. They're gonna trade better than Spearmen. They get free value from their javelins. So that, as well as pit mines. And pit mines are crucial because they are such a large amount of value for Malions. Yeah, 90 gold per min from a normal pit mine, 120 from a big one is just insane value for Malions. So A tier for Malions. Ottomans. The last old civ is an S tier civ. And Dark Age. They have cheaper production. That being that being barracks, docks, saving 50 resources on every single one you produce. Might not sound a lot, but it is. It's a big deal in Dark Age. It allows you to produce maybe one more spearman, one more fishing boat, you know. So that, as well as military schools, free spearmen every 3 minutes or whatever, 30 minutes or whatever. Not actually sure the exact number, but just free resources, right? And the visor point, which is actually massive for Ottomans in an extended feudal play. You cannot go up against Ottomans spearman versus spearman if they have imams or meta in your army. You're gonna lose the fight because that visor point is so strong in the extended periods of feudal. So S tier civ for Ottomans here. Alright, moving on to the first new civ, Albids. Albids is an interesting civ because they're Abbasid, which means they really don't have a lot in Dark Age. They have the berries, and that's pretty much it. I'm not going to put them in detail with Abbasids just because of one thing, and that's because like Roose, they really don't have as much of an issue getting out of Dark Age as maybe Abbasid would. Let's say you get Men-at-Arms rushed by English. You know, your Men-at-Arms is on your gold. Albids can go the quick tech up. Whereas Abyss is kind of trapped, right? So Albids struggle less in Dark Age than maybe Abyss would. Whereas maybe they're not better per se, but they struggle less. So better at getting out. And that's why I'm putting them in C tier here. Byzantine. I think Byzantine or another C tier civ. Um, Byzantine have not a lot going for them, but more than these civs, and that's just the cistern. And you can build one cistern, two if you want to stay in Dark Age, and it's 10% eco. That's nothing to scoff at. So I mean, Byzantine, you don't really want to stay in Dark Age because there's not that much value from it. Like you're not like getting more resources because you're in Dark Age. Well, no save is, but you're not like it's not like against like H3 like for instance, like I wouldn't really want to stay in Dark Age against H3, but I'm not like if I'm up against Magos, it's not like oh I have to stay Dark Age. Because some matchups you just have to stay Dark Age in, and as Byzantines, it's not like the end of the game. Whereas Aobids, like you're like get me out of Dark Age, right? Um, so the Cisterns, and that's pretty much it. Cisterns, you have your melee guys, and you got that to help you out. So C tier for Byzantines. Japan. Japan, I think is a B tier civ, and I'm debating on ahead or behind China here. Maybe behind China. So Japan's interesting, of course, because they're one of the civs that can produce two units, right? Samurai and Spearman in Dark Age. But unlike English, their samurai or their men-at-arms essentially are not really that strong. Um, Unfortunately, it takes them a while to produce samurai compared to English. You produce men-at-arms in 15 seconds. Samurai produce, I think it's quite long actually. So you can't really mass samurai like you can men-at-arms for English, and that is a big deal if you're trying to get into like big Dark Age fights. You're not going to have that big massive samurai. So for that reason, Japan's it's a B tier save. It's okay, but it's not like the best. As well, they have the cheaper wheelbarrow tech, which is kind of nice if you can't afford the other one, get the cheaper one. Of course, that's something as well. All right, Jean. Jean, I think, is a solid C tier above Roos and Albids. You could argue for staying in Dark Age a little bit more, Jean, because you get some experience. Even having that villager, that one villager is nice. Builds faster, you can build the barrack with it. You still get experience, so there's no reason to really rush Dark Age. If you're getting attacked, I guess. And if you do happen to get enough experience in Dark Age to get Archer or Woman-at-Arms Jean, that is obviously a big tide in your favor. So I think that makes Jean a C tier civ. Really unlikely to actually get Jean at that period, but better than these civs, which kind of have nothing, right? So, all right, Order of the Dragon. I'm gonna put Order of the Dragon at actually A above Atri and Malions because I think Order of the Dragon has a lot of untapped potential with their unique like gilded spearmen. Obviously, it produces quite fast given that it's two spearmen. So I think in theory you can actually mass a lot of gilded spearmen and keep up quite well with. I'm not sure about mangas, but definitely these other civs, like these other kind of Ottomans, maybe English, H3, they can probably keep up and actually maybe even outmass in terms of raw strength in your spearman numbers, which is obviously the best thing you want to be doing in Dark Age, if you're taking a fight in Dark Age, that is. And of course, they have the um, initial eco bonus of just baseline Order of the Dragon, right? So, yeah. I think there's some untapped potential with Order Dragon, and pretty interesting that they have those stronger and I think easier to mass spearmen than other civs. Well, given that they one is two, right? Not that you're gonna have more gilded spearmen than the other person's spearmen, but in terms of strength, okay. Um, all right, final civ Zushi. Zushi, I think, is just above China here. Um, that's just because they have a slightly faster start than China would. China has to obviously produce that IO, whereas Zushi doesn't, and that is just better because you save some food and yeah, like that's about it. But it's kind of important for Dark Age. Saving a bit of food and stuff is nice, and as well they get the cheaper landmark, which helps you get off Dark Age. So yeah, that's my Dark Age tier list for Age of Empires 4. Hopefully you guys enjoyed because I will be doing a feudal, castle, and imp tier list. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with this tier list, and hopefully we can see the strengths of these civs going into Feudal Age and Castle Age, which is going to get a lot more interesting because obviously the game is so much expands a lot more in those ages, and this gives us a good perspective of where each civ is going into the Feudal Age with. So again, hope you guys enjoyed, and hope to see you in the next video. Take care, guys, and peace.